Since the Neuropathy Action Foundation was established, Dominic has recognized the value of working in partnership with other organizations, the value of collaboration, and Pam is an example of this. The organization is fortunate to have wonderful working relationships with entities such as the GBS CIDP Foundation International, Western Neuropathy Association, and the Neuropathy Support Networks. All of those organizations also have exhibit booths here and have representatives. And the NAF has also partnered with the Foundation for Peripheral Neuropathy. Our next speaker is the executive director from that organization. Pam is the president and executive director of the Foundation for Peripheral Neuropathy. It's an organization that was founded in 2007, focuses on neuropathy research and treatment to develop new and effective therapies. So again, not going to read the entire bio, all the information is in your packet, but welcome, Pam.
Okay. Well, thank you, Kathleen. And I would like to thank Dominic for having me participate in today's meeting. As Kathleen said, it's so important to collaborate with other like-minded organizations. And Dominic has been a friend of the foundation for quite some time. October will mark our 10th anniversary. And Dominic was one of our initial board members when we became a public charity. So I'm honored to be part of this meeting, and I applaud the work that you guys do. So let me just begin by talking. I'm not going to spend a lot of time, but for those of you that don't know about the foundation, I just want to give you a little bit of background, and for those that do, just to kind of give you a little bit of an update. So our mission is to dramatically improve the lives of people living with peripheral neuropathy. And we have a very focused approach to what we do. We have so much funding available, so we want to make sure we're working to serve as a premier resource of information for patients, their families, and healthcare providers, accelerating a cure for peripheral neuropathies, funding collaborative efforts of leading scientists, and raising awareness of peripheral neuropathy. And I'll talk about what we're doing in each of those areas, but I also wanted to share with you some facts. Some of you may know these facts, but just a few facts that I want to share with you. Back in the mid-90s, when I first got involved with this organization, I did a lot of research, and I found from the World Health Organization that the statistics show that there were over 20 million Americans living with all types of neuropathy. Experts today are estimating that there's close to 30 million or more because of the increased prevalence of diabetic neuropathy. Patients are living longer with chemo-induced neuropathy. So what we have shown is that it looks like there's 1 in 11 people you know that are living with neuropathy. So we know that there's 100 different types. There are no cures. It's difficult to treat and can be unresponsive to the therapies that are out there, as Dr. Katz had said. For those of you that have been diagnosed with idiopathic, everybody knows it just means they don't know what causes it yet. And out of the main neuropathies, cancer patients treated with chemotherapy, 30 to 40% will end up with peripheral neuropathy. 60 to 70% of all diabetics are living with peripheral neuropathy, and that's about 18.85 million. 33% of HIV patients, and then the immune-mediated neuropathies, the GBS, CIDP, MMN, and others, estimates around 275,000. And then you have the Charcot-Marie-Tooth, or the hereditary neuropathies, about 126,000. As Dr. Katz said, he alluded to this a little bit, the overall benefits of the existing drugs today is about 30 to 40% pain reduction in less than 50% of patients. So today, most of you that have tried these drugs know that there's not much benefit. So what are we doing? I'll talk to you about what we're trying to do to change that. Some other challenges that we face is that there's a lack of understanding in the process of nerve injury repair, and regeneration. I'm happy to say there's a lot of effort going into research in this area. 90% of all clinical trials fail, which means slower research, fewer gains, and a little drug development. Again, I'll explain to you what the foundation is trying to do to help improve that. But it's so important when you see a clinical trial to be invested in participating in one. Without us as patients, clinical trials will never go forward without the involvement of patients. There's lack of educational materials from healthcare providers. I don't think that's news to anybody. And there's lack of knowledge among clinicians. I think Dr. Katz had made a comment that neurology is a bunch of opinions. Well, when we as an organization talk to thousands of patients and they go from doctor to doctor to doctor and they get a difference of opinions, it's difficult to try to work with these patients. So the foundation is really trying to work with clinicians to provide better knowledge and understanding of neuropathy and education as well. And then the other part is PN is not the primary diagnosis. And it doesn't kill you. There's a lack of funding from both patients, from pharmaceutical companies, from the government. And then awareness. How do we reach more than the 30 million Americans? A lot of people say that we need a spokesperson, celebrity spokesperson, like the Michael J. Fox or the Christopher Reeves organization, or many of the other organizations that have celebrity spokespersons. I don't know if anybody saw in the last 2 weeks, Eric Clapton came out to say he has peripheral neuropathy. I don't know how many know who Eric Clapton is. Famous guitar, yeah, everybody. So he has it from abuse of alcoholism and for many years of drinking. And he is having trouble playing the guitar. So we have reached out to his agency and hopefully he'll respond and we can talk to him. I'm not sure he would not want to go public with it, but we don't want people to have it, but here's maybe an opportunity where he can help bring awareness to this. So what is FPN doing for you? So like I said, we do research, education, and awareness, and we work with support groups. I do want to step back a little bit to acknowledge the organization, the Neuropathy Association that was around for 20 years. They dissolved at the end of 2014 and named the foundation as their beneficiary of some of their programs. One of them, which is the support group. So I'll talk about the support groups in a bit. But let me just talk to you about the Peripheral Neuropathy Research Registry. This is the first of its kind. And the registry we started this in 2008. And we actually started enrolling patients in 2012. And we work with and we fund 6 consortium partners across the United States enrolling patients into this registry. And this registry will be open access to any scientist wanting to access the data of patients. We're collecting biological samples of patients, so their DNA, their plasma and serum. DNA is for genetic studies. Plasma and serum will be to identify biomarkers. What that will do is help us identify what is causing the neuropathies. It will improve and assist with clinical trial recruitment because we have a well cohort of patients, studied patients, so that will help pharmaceutical companies come to us and say, hey, you've got these group of patients, we'd like to do a diabetic study, you've already got this well cohort of characterized patients, can you reach out to them for our trial? We've created standardized data protocols that can be shared with the clinical community, so all of our consortium partners have equal diagnosis and treatment evaluation forms, and if these are something that are showing some success and promise, we will share that among all the clinicians. This will allow for various types of research and education, and as I mentioned, identify biomarkers. The outcomes that we're looking for is to understand the disease, improve the diagnosis, develop new therapies, and most importantly, find a cure. Our foundation was founded by, our basis is to find a cure for peripheral neuropathy, not only just to develop new treatments, but also to find a cure. So, as I said, we've been doing this since 2012. Our goal is to get 2,000 patients enrolled. We're a little over half, we're at 12,038 patients. And we focus on the 4 major neuropathies. And we do that because the population is much larger. So diabetic peripheral neuropathy, chemo-induced, idiopathic, HIV, and others. Others is pre-diabetic. We may be looking at, in the future, to incorporate the autoimmune neuropathies. I do want to also say that we've had some investment in the data through one of our pharmaceutical companies, Bristol Myers Squibb. They've helped support this registry. They've also done a diabetic study. They've had some success with the data that they've analyzed, and they're going to be publishing the data shortly. So we're very happy to see that what we have invested is actually starting to make some progress. These are our research consortium partners across the country, currently enrolling patients. The other thing that we do is we put on a biannual international research symposium where the foundation brings together a multidisciplinary group of individuals, all related to drug development. Typically, these folks don't get together in one meeting. We have a unique style meeting where we can bring all these folks together. So it includes industry, pharma representatives, basic scientists, clinicians, NIH, FDA folks together. And we identify what are the critical barriers moving drug development forward. We also invest in junior investigators. So every year we have nominated junior investigators, and we provide a travel award to each of them so they will continue in the field of peripheral nerve regeneration. This year we have 14 nominated junior investigators attending. Our symposium this year will be held in Chicago. And we're focusing this year on chemo-induced neuropathy, cannabis and the pros and cons of it, and in general, what's in the pipeline for all neuropathies. And then we publish a paper in the Peripheral Nervous Society Journal. And then most important is our awareness and education. We, like I said, we have a robust website. All the information we put on our website is vetted through our scientific advisory board. We send out monthly e-news tips or e-newsletters, e-tips. We do patient surveys, put on webinars. We have a bunch of brochures. Some are in your packets today. Our clinical awareness campaign is something new, and that's, again, where we're going out to the clinicians across the country to provide education about neuropathy, not just in general, but also to make sure that they understand there's resources out there for them to provide to their patients, that organizations like Dominic's, the Foundation for Peripheral Neuropathy, the GBS-CIDP organization, the Hereditary organization, these organizations are out there. So when you're being seen by a general practitioner, that they can provide you this information. And then the support groups. There's over 106 support groups across the country that we incorporate, we developed from the Neuropathy Association. We have, since we started, we've brought on 6 new support groups across the country. One of them is a monthly support group that people participate through UVU. And then we foster creation of new support groups and leaders. We also have created a support group leader network, and that is to share ideas among the support group leaders and to share that information among other support groups. This is a great opportunity for patients to meet each other, talk about their symptoms, learn something new from somebody else. So this is a great way to get involved, and we help assist with marketing and advertisement of their meetings. And that's about it. So thank you very much. Again, Dominic, thank you.